Hey, welcome to the start of a new marathon, or at least a mini marathon. This time on Patrick Swayze. Like I said in my previous video, he is greatly missed. His birthday's coming up. There's a new documentary coming out. I forget what network or whatever it is. It's called I Am Patrick Swayze. Very nice guy named Perry Fan had asked me to do like at least a little mini Patrick Swayze marathon. I figured the best way to start would be a very early role that he had in Uncommon Valor, which to me is one of the most underrated films of all time. I know that's a bold statement. I know that's a really, but really, I've reviewed this film a couple times in the past, and when people checked it out, like my friend Michael CP, he checked it out and he's like, man, I was really touched by this film. It's a it has a big heart to it when you get to the finale, the end of the film. That's bittersweet, which I'll get to. It's a happy and a sad ending at the same time, in a way. Uncommon Valor has a great cast. Wonderful, underrated story by James Horner. Very capable directed by Ted Kotcheff. This is a guy who previously had done First Blood in 1982. This came out in 1983. And later he would do Weekend at Bernie's. And I enjoy all three of those movies Ted Kotcheff directed. And the cast is amazing. You got Gene Hackman, Fred Ward, Reb Brown, Tim Thomerson, Randall Texcobb, Robert Stack, and of course Patrick Swayze, who is right there. Now, the story of the film, this is actually a very early... You know how in the 80s you had a lot of movies where we gotta go back to Vietnam and rescue POWs? I believe this was the first film that dealt with that, because this was before Missing in Action, because that was 84. This is 83. It was before Rambo for Split Part 2. And unlike those two, this one does it a bit more serious and less fantastical. Although I love Rambo 2 to death, and I do enjoy Missing in Action. All the Missing in Action films, and all the Rambo films so far. But this one, it's still an action movie, but it's also got drama, but it's not pretentious about it either. But Gene Hackman is the father. For years, he's been haunted by the fact that his son is missing in action in Vietnam, and it's a great bit near the beginning of the film, where he's in bed and he imagines his child, when he was just a little boy, coming up to him and calling his name, and Hackman looks and opens his hand. And the kid puts his hand in his, and the kid disappears from Gene Hackman's hand, and then Gene closes it. And the scene plays out better than I'm describing it, but it really sets you up for the it can tug on your heartstrings, and it's not phony or fake. It's not a fraud. And Gene Hackman gets the help of another man whose son is missing in Vietnam, played by Robert Stack from Unsolved Mysteries, among others. And what happens is Robert Stack is going to front the money because he's a rich guy. And so he's going to fund it, and Gene Hackman goes and finds his son's buddies, as well as some other people, but mostly his son's buddies who are in Vietnam with him. You have Randall Texcobb, who is named Sailor, and Gene Hackman finds him in jail, where the cops say, oh, we found him with a grenade around his neck. Fred Ward, who is a tunnel rat, and he has a bit of claustrophobia because of some horrible thing that happened in Vietnam. Tim Thomerson from Trancers. Of course, Fred Ward, he's from Tremors, among others. Tim Thomerson from Trancers, he's here as a helicopter pilot, as well as another actor, Harold Sylvester. He's also a helicopter pilot. Reb Brown from Strike Commando, Robo War, Your Hunter from the Future, Howling 2. He's here as a fun demolition expert guy. And of course, Patrick Swayze is, in a way, the rookie of the group, but he's doing it because his father was missing in action. And Patrick Swayze does a really great job here in a supporting role, especially his interactions with Randall Tex Cobb. They have a nice little fight in the middle of the film where both showcase some pretty good martial arts. And that's where you get one of the best lines where Randall Tex Cobb goes, "Boy, you just opened up the whole can of whoop ass." And that was very fun. But I mean, that's what this movie does well. It does a great job bringing you into the situation. It does a wonderful job letting us know about these characters and getting to really care about them. You really enjoy their presence, their company, and they have a great rapport with each other. Whether it be when they're training, and it's a fun scene where the training and Fred Ward is supposed to hunt them all down. Each time he gets them, he hands like a little sign. There's one more Reb Brown's like, "Oh shit, I'm dead." Come on, fuck. No, he's like, "Shit." And then Tim Thomerson, he doesn't say anything, and I think he gets like a slap on the face, and he just looks down and is like, "Fuck." Or later on when they're dancing to "Sunshine of Your Love," you know, so you have fun humor, sense of camaraderie, but at the same time, it's, how I put it, at the same time, again, it's not pretentious. It's not, it doesn't feel, how do I put it? It doesn't feel like fake, phony horse shit. I don't know how else to put it, but it's just, there's a lot of times where it feels way too sentimental. And the thing about this movie, it pisses me off that this film is so unknown nowadays. So unknown nowadays. Because you have a movie that has a great score by James Horner. May he rest in peace. My favorite score of James Horner is Aliens, but this is up there. Easily one of his most underrated. Whether it be the sweeter moments in the film, whether it be when they're training, it's a fun like but this is a score James Horner no one ever talks about, but I think it's one of his best. You have a beautiful song at the end by Ray Kennedy called "Brothers in the Night" that fits the film like a glove. Like I said, you have this great cast who interact with each other wonderfully. You have solid action done with practicality, some good stunt work. And by the end of the film, not all of these people make it out. And because you really grow to like these characters, it's sad. It's not downbeat, but some of them don't make it and you really feel bad. And then at the end, it's bittersweet. I was to get to that a little bit. It tugs at your heartstrings and can get you a little teary-eyed. And that's part of the power of this movie. And I have nothing bad to say about this film. Again, it works as an action film. It works as likable characters. It has a great heart when you get to the end of the film. It's shot well. The music, the song at the end, the banter, some good lines of dialogue. When Reb Brown is teaching them about demolition, and mines, and he's showing about all the tripwires. He goes over here and he blows his balls off, and then he goes over here. Done the Reb Brown way. There's a moment, if you blink, you miss it. Michael Dudikoff is like way, way, way in the background. But again, if you blink, you miss it. So, but yeah, Michael Dudikoff, if you squint, he's like a surfer in the background. I think when Gene Hackman meets up with Reb Brown the first time, like Michael Dudikoff's like in the background somewhere. I believe that's the scene. But I mean, getting to the end, spoilers. Be warned, spoilers. When Randall Tex Cobb's sailor, he helps to get his friends out of there he's been shot, and he jumps down with that grenade around his neck, and see what happens next. You feel bad and sad. When Reb Brown, the explosion for the bridge doesn't work, and he goes out there to detonate it in person and shoots the bad guys, you feel sad. And then at the end, they do say POWs, but Gene Hackman is talking to one of his son's friends who they save. I believe it's Robert Stack's character, his son, that Gene Hackman is talking to here. And he has to tell Gene Hackman that his own son died. He talked about how he saved his life at the very beginning of the film, this scene here, and how he died while they were in that POW camp. So that's for me, it's a happy ending, because some of them, like Fred Ward, Tim Thomerson, Patrick Swayze, they do make it out. They do save some POWs. They do get some POWs out of Vietnam, again, including Robert Stack's son. But it's sad and bittersweet because Gene Hackman, he did all this to find his son, and it didn't work out. And it's the phrase, you can have your cake and eat it too. I believe that's how it goes, where it's not sentimental, sugary, happy. It's not downbeat, grim. It's a measure of the two, and it works rather well. And when you get to the freeze frame where Gene Hackman, his son is gone, but at least now he knows. He can live his life with his wife and move on. And they did do some good and rescue some folks who were trapped there. And then you have that beautiful song at the end by Ray Kennedy, Brothers in the Night. So it's one of those things where you get teary-eyed by the end of the film. Great score by James Horner, the music, the way it was shot, the performances. Gene Hackman, fantastic actor. I've always been a big fan of Gene Hackman. Easily his most underrated role, in my opinion, as Colonel Jason Rhodes. Because no one ever talks about this film. That's what pisses me off. No one ever talks about this film. No one ever mentions this film. No one ever reviews this film. No one ever reviews this film on YouTube. This film doesn't have a Blu-ray. This DVD doesn't even have features. Doesn't even have a fucking trailer. Not even a fucking trailer. And no Blu-ray, no respect. When it came out, it did fairly well. It made like $30 million in 1983. That's pretty good. And still, no one ever talks about this. I don't understand it. I'd love for someone to explain it to me, because I don't get it. But yeah, this is a great movie, fantastic film, and I'll keep on harping on it. It's one of the most underrated films ever. And it was a great movie to rewatch again for the Patrick Swayze marathon. Swayze does a great job in his role. Especially his scene where Randall Tex Cobb and him have that fight. And you see throughout the film that the character is learning more and more about war and what goes on during it. Subtle, but it's there. So yeah, great cast, great movie, great score, great lead performance, great song, just great fucking movie that deserves so much more praise and kudos than it's gotten. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care. Stay tuned for my next Patrick Swayze review, which will be Red Heat. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Red Dawn, but it's Red Heat. The other way around. Shit. Fucked up. I meant the other way around. Red Dawn. And then I always keep saying Red Heat. I fucked it up again. People are like, you Red Heat? Swayze wasn't Red Heat. That was Blue Sheep. Red Dawn is what I meant. Red Dawn is the next review for the Swayze. Red Dawn. Not Red Heat. Red Dawn. But anyway, thanks for watching. Shout Factory, I know you got Paramount. Please release a Blu-ray of this and get some features for it. Please. Please, pretty please, with sugar on top. It deserves it. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye-bye.